Going into our second best of 5 here now, Star League Season 2 Challenger, and the first series was a bit disappointing. I think a lot of Flash fans probably very upset with the results, but, you know, you play like he did, Lennox going to 3-1 you, man.
Yeah, pretty disappointing. Kind of repeat of last season when we saw Flash and the Challenger go down pretty hard to life, and it was more of the same, just maybe a little less clean from Lennox. Yeah. Pretty disappointing in general. It's Flash kind of keeping on his road to Slumptown, I guess.
Yeah.
He's just staying there, man. He's living in like one of those motels on like on the edge of the town. Like he doesn't want to go too far in. Like he can win the occasional game, but on the other hand, like he's staying there.
He just seems like a KTB teamer right now. By the way, speaking of B teamers, we've seen this guy Rogue kind of replaced by Symbol in the rosters recently as he has been traveling. Symbol replacing him twice. And he is massively favored, Rogue, especially because I feel like he hasn't showed that many matches in Korea recently against Hurricane, who did, do fairly well in the Hong Kong esports tournament. Number 1, he took it, and number 2, he was actually the finalist. And in GSO Code S, he fell out in the round of 32 in Season 3 last year, but this guy was much better when he was on EpicSO as a sniper in the team league, but in individual leagues, he's never really found his strides just yet.
He's always looked like a pretty strong Protoss, but yeah, I've never been too impressed with how he's done in individual leagues more than anything else. You're completely right there as we have a look at their statistics.
Yeah, you could see that Biel made it to the round of 8 last time. He very impressively 3-0'd Sulky in Challenger last season, and that was like a really, really quick one-side series. We just clearly studied Sulky so well and just tore him apart.
Yeah, I remember that. Rogue was just insane, completely shutting down Sulky. It was really actually such a surprise to see Sulky lose like that. But, it was like a lot of 9 pulls, if I recall.
Yeah, 2 9 pulls, and then like Roach push, I think, on game 3.
That's right.
If you look at his stats against Myungshik, which is his most relevant like Star League stats in this matchup, he lost to 2 Myungshik all-ins, but then was able to 2-0 him again in the final match in the round of 16.
Yeah, he was actually looking pretty mentally weak last season for like the mid-length of that season. He kind of looked very upset when he'd lose a game, like very, very visibly upset, which was kind of surprising. But he did manage to turn it around against Myungshik in the end. I think even Myungshik took a game of him in Pro League during that time as well. So he really got under his skin. So we have a look at these maps now.
Cactus Valley gets banned again, as you would expect, and Vani, the Zerg's not liking playing on that map too much versus Protoss, of course, that free base.
Okay, Deadwing, Merry-Go-Round, King Sejong's first 3 maps. Deadwing, you know, obviously going to be decent for the Protoss, especially if it's cross spawns. Merry-Go-Round, no doubt going to be the Zerg map. And King Sejong, probably a bit in between for both. It'd be a good map there.
Yeah, gnarly bad win rate for Protoss on King Sejong at 25% currently with a 2 and 6.
Yeah, I mean, not the biggest stats, but still shows a bit there.
Yeah, that's the one that stands out the most. There's no stats just yet in recorded matches for Expedition Lost. This is his debut here in Korea. Well, I think that Rogue is highly favored going to this one, but let's see what Hurricane's got planned. He's a good prep guy, especially for best of 1s, but this is Challenger. This is best of 5. It's going to game number 1 on this very large map, Deadwing, Rogue versus Hurricane.
And up here to the top right of Deadwing, it is Rogue.
And to the bottom right in red, his opponent, Hurricane. And, the thing about this matchup, oh, we need a little pause. This is great. This is a great time to actually talk about this. Just wanted to say, talking about Hurricane's run through the qualifiers, he had a pretty easy run, except that he beat CJ Hero in a PvP, which was pretty impressive.
That is pretty big, let's be honest. That is probably one of the bigger wins you'd get out of a qualifier in Star League. So he did do that, but it isn't PvP, granted. It is going to be ZVP, which is a completely different matchup. A lot more things can happen in a ZVP, especially against someone like Rogue, and especially if it is going to be vertical spawns on this kind of map, we can see Swarmhost play still. There is no Legacy of the Void here. There isn't a minute cooldown on your Locust. There is no flying Locusts.
Nope.
There is no Disruptor to ruin your game.
Well, yeah.
To make you sad in general.
That unit, man.
It'll make you sad, Wolf.
It will. It even makes you sad when you use it. You blow up all the Zerg units, you're like, oh,
yeah.
What have I done?
Well, you should. It's like, I should be in jail for this kind of play. This is actually disgusting.
Yeah. Those innocent, like, Zerg/Terran units that just get blown up for nothing. It's like, well, they can't escape. Even if you split, you're still going to lose a ton of them. That thing is invincible, and it goes faster.
The fact that you can put 2 in a Warp Prism?
Yeah, you can put 2 in a Warp Prism. You can just you can blow up it blows up buildings.
Does it?
Yeah, it does damage to buildings.
Really?
It really does. Yeah.
I didn't even notice.
You could like use it to break Terran walls.
I'm too busy like having an anxiety attack while I split up my drones. I don't even notice the damage on my buildings. I mean, it's the fact that it one-shots Roach, Hydra, and Ravager and Lurkers.
Yeah.
Like, you got to make sure nothing gets hit by that.
It blows up everything that isn't flying, basically. Like, I mean,
I think the only thing that survives one hit is an Ultra, man. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Interesting unit. I don't know if it's going to stay that way. I'd be very surprised if it did. I think it's the last thing Protoss needs is another thing that just destroys everything, as we are going to see a regame here, actually.
Yeah. I'm sure we'll get an update in just a second as our producer's like informed about what the issue is. Oh, his screen literally just stopped. Like, looks like it froze.
Yeah, it just blew up. Just exploded like a disruptor.
It got hit by a disruptor.
What a surprise!
Look at that, David Kim. What are you on?
Come on, man.
Star League.
Yeah, seriously.
I'm really, in regards to the beta right now. I think that there are a few units that are really strong. Like the Ravager is quite strong, right? The Disruptor is quite strong, and the Cyclone is quite strong. The one that frustrates me the most is definitely the Cyclone. Because it's like, against the Disruptor, mind you, I still think it definitely needs some tweaking, at least to its movement speed, or maybe it should still be able to be killed while it's attacking. But regardless, you can micro against it. There's like something you can do. Whereas against a Cyclone, it like locks onto your Stalker, and you're like, that is a dead Stalker. And what do? Do I just like shoot it one more time before it dies? Do I try to run away? It's not getting away. That's not happening.
No, we saw it at BlizzCon, like people just won with a Cyclone alone. There was actually nothing else.
Well, I was watching a Cyclone, I'm like, well, I mean, they took out the Herc, but they left this in the game?
I'm like, it was so funny when we saw it at BlizzCon, and like, I don't know how you could commentate that to make it sound good. It's like, well, I guess the Cyclone just kills everything again.
It's a Phoenix that's on the ground that just comes out of factory tech and does more damage than a Phoenix and shoots air and ground.
Yeah.
And like has a bigger range than a Phoenix.
The good thing is for Zerg, so we didn't actually, like, as a Zerg, I haven't actually had to deal with it nearly at all. I had like one game where they made a Cyclone, but Speedlings are out nice and quick, so you can deal with them very easily for a Zerg.
For Prosso, you're like,
yeah, I've heard some people be pretty salty about it. One comes to mind is Artosis.
Yeah, he was pretty salty.
I saw his blog and his tweets, and yeah, he is not a happy chappy with that.
I'm also quite salty. Like, it's been pretty frustrating. I'm not as high level as Artosis, right? I'm just a lowly wolf. But it's been pretty frustrating.
Well, I mean, I'm not salty, but I kind of see I get frustrated with these disruptors, man. They're just. It's kind of silly the way it is, as it is. Yeah. I don't know. I got to play a lot more, though, before I get a super feel for it. But it is an expensive unit. It is like 300, 300, I believe.
I think it's 200, 300, if I'm not mistaken.
It should be 300, 300. That is your first problem.
Well, I mean, it's like almost the cost of an Archon, but like 1,000 times more efficient.
Essentially, it's guaranteed to kill. It's like you actually kind of run it with everything. You just have to split like a god.
And then it's like, it's not like a Baneling where if it just blows up and does damage, it actually still lives afterwards. Like,
yeah, it recharges. It'll come back in like 10 seconds and do it again.
It's definitely a fun concept, but I think everything needs some tweaking. We were in day 2, right?
We're in day 2.
We don't even know what the Terran unit's going to be yet.
I mean, it's going to probably be like out at the end of this year, right? So we got a long time to worry about it.
And I love that Blizzard is, for the first time, I feel, in StarCraft 2, like, doing some radical ideas, like some radical changes, like Zealot warp and cooldown is longer, for example. And we're talking like...
I like that, actually.
Yeah, me too. I mean, even as a Protoss player, I'm like, well, this just simply makes sense. Zealot harassment is too strong. I mean, we're looking at changes to the economy. We're looking at changes to just simply how units interact with each other at a fundamental level.
Right, right. The economy change is probably the biggest one that I like the most because it removes this kind of downtime we're experiencing right now. This wouldn't be here. We'd be seeing an expansion from the Zerg at this time.
Yeah.
it actually happens at this time. Like, because you start with 12 workers, you need to make a few more, then you throw down another hatchery. It's like, the game is so much faster, and I think it makes it a lot more interesting for everyone.
It's great for esports, but even on top of that, myself, like, you know, when I played ladder before, you bang out, say, 5 to 7 games, and you're starting to feel a little bit fatigued with the beta. Maybe it's just simply because it's a beta and I'm getting this excitement feeling. But when I bang out a game or two, I'm ready to do it. I'm like, okay, I'm just going again, because you don't have to do that whole wind up. You know, it's like before the early game was kind of like you're like twisting a wind up toy or something. It's like you can't do it wrong, but you have to twist it up before it's going to start to walk. Like, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I get what you're saying. There's a lot of setup time and whatnot, and it just isn't like that with the with Legacy. Definitely the games are shorter, but more exciting. When they can go longer as well. I mean, you got to transition so much because of the small amount of resources at every base.
Yeah,
I love that too. Actually, it's very refreshing and definitely spices up the game a lot.
Yeah. Well, in this game, was this this wind up was going on. We see a gate Nexus core, excuse me, and a big overcommitment by Rogue. Actually, expecting a cannon rush there, like bringing 4 or 5 drones down to deal with it, but there was nothing else.
Safety first. I mean, maybe he's thinking like Hurricane has to try something. You know, he's got to really try to out-cheese or be super aggressive against someone like Rogue, who is going to have that advantage when it comes to the macro game, the mid game, because Rogue is just, I dare say, on another level to this player.
Sure.
In previous sort of exploits and results, you know, Rogue is a fantastic, one of the best Zerg players in the world, like top 5 easily. Whereas Hurricane, you know, he's struggling to stay in the top 10 for Protoss.
Yeah, Hurricane is like, I don't know, he definitely had his moments in the past. And I was always thinking that once he joined Samsung last year, I was like, okay, this guy's going to come back to form. Evixo disbanded. This guy was teamless. I thought maybe he'd retire. But to put it very frankly, he's just not been impressive. Like, I even put like Stork oftentimes at a higher level than him, like Protoss-wise. Like
last year, I would agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Stork has taken a big step back and a focus on coaching now. But like last year, I was watching when Stork played. I'm like, oh, I'm excited. I want to see us. When Hurricanes playing, I'm like, let's see what he can do. And I feel like that's kind of how I'm feeling going into this best of 5 as well. Like, let's see what he can do.
Yeah, well, he already knows where he's at. Like, he's like, okay, it's going to be against Rogue. It's going to be in vertical spawns on Deadwing. So definitely the disadvantage, unless I go for something aggressive, maybe on 2 or 3 base. We could very well see a huge push with Stalker Sentry, like we have been seeing in this matchup a lot recently.
Yeah, I think that would be good at these spawning locations for sure. There's a Twilight Council.
One thing to consider going into this game as well is that we did see Rogue at G Infinity in recent times. You know, he was in Europe last weekend.
Yeah.
He only just flew back. You know, he could be still suffering from jet lag. He didn't obviously have much time to prepare against someone like Hurricane.
Did show a lot of games as well.
Did show a lot of games. So this is something to really consider going into this Challenger match.
Well, this gets scouted, so we're probably going to see some supports go up, as well as just perhaps Overseers. I think this is going to be DTs, especially considering that probe placement over there to the left side. Dark Shrine, almost 100%.
Yeah, I would have to agree with you there. It's definitely a Dark Shrine pylon.
Warp Prism, I think the next step with this, with the robotics finishing up, so... Ooh, he's even kind of mistimed this a little bit.
Maybe he's changed his mind about it.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe like he's like, oh, well, it's been scouted. I'll throw down the Robo. I don't know. He's going to throw down it anyway. Just delay it maybe a little bit.
I think you might be right, though. I think he might have had some second thoughts there for a minute.
Well, he's definitely making the transition move already as well, adding that Forge, going for that Robo. It's going to be no doubt be going for upgrades, for attack upgrades, going for that third base, probably going for a +2 and Blink behind it. And he will go for that Blink Stalker Sentry sort of attack that has been doing so well, that Parting made so popular recently, winning G Infinity actually, on the back of it. And nearly winning the GSL, somewhat off the back of it. Very close. 2 Roach Horns going down side by side, on purpose, I would have to say. Yeah, that's definitely not a mistake. So it's going to be Roach Speed, Roach Burrow, ASAP. I think Rogue has just kind of read Hurricane like a book. He's like, all right, you're going to do this, I'm going to defend it, you're going to be behind, you're going to try transition, I'm going to hit you before you can be ready for it. Well, you know, semi-book, I feel. Let's see where the others... There's no spore in the main base. There's no spore in the natural. Only the front. This leads me to believe, as we see this Observer go down, that... I think actually you guys might have missed it. Observer went down at the front of the third base. But we're going to see a warp in of DTs into that Warp Prism. and he's going to go for that main base. It's going to be up to Rogue to be on top of this.
Look at the Overlord coverage here. I think he's like, gotta know. He's making an Overseer. He knows. He's like, oh, okay, what's his piling for? It's to warp DTs in to put into a Warp Prism. I'm ready. Well, Overseer's ready as well. He's going to run right into this.
Where's the Overseer is the next point.
It's to the right side. It's going to run right into the Warp Prism.
Okay, well, here he goes. He sees it. Does he react to it is the next question. He's going to bring those Lings around. And what's in the main base? We are seeing another Overseer being activated, being morphed.
Yeah, he totally knows what's going on.
How much damage will he take until then?
Maybe assassinate the Queen? Not quite even able to do that.
He's going to fight the Lings for a little bit. All right. Finds nothing.
And that was a commitment to 4 DTs. That's pretty expensive.
Yeah, well, he can make them into Archons as well if he wants to transition into that Blinkstalker Sentry. We're already seeing sentries being made. You know, a couple of Archons would be pretty damn good with this kind of attack.
Yeah, it really helps clean up the Lings. Any Lings that actually get through the force field, it's like, sorry, you're running into Archons.
Solid sort of buffer as well, you know. Like, they will take a lot of hits, even from Hydras, before they go down. It gives them a little bit more time to get a good concave and do a lot of damage with Stalkers and Sentries.
Archons are just great units.
They're fantastic, man.
They got buffed in like 2012 to have that extra range. And it looks like we're even going to see an Archon drop here. They just do so much to bio. Like, he actually is just using Lings to defend DTs. He didn't see this Archon morph, so he's going to just run these Lings over to try to catch DTs again, then boom, a bunch of Lings are going to blow up. Watch this.
Yeah, well, let's see what the surrounds are like on these guys as well. If he gets them behind that Extractor, it's going to be hard to deal with. Going to start warping and Zealots? Probably not going to commit there.
That was kind of weird.
That was weird. But I understand why he didn't want to drop the Archons, because even Lings surrounding an Archon will kill them eventually. Yeah. PP again. Uh-oh. Oh, are we seeing that monitor go down again?
I hope not.
Me too. That would be weird.
You can see a shot of Hero getting ready on the left side of things, by the way, for his match coming up after this.
Hero versus Symbol. And let's see. The hotkey settings got erased, so he's going to have to set that up again. I don't know if we're going to resume from replay, or we're just simply going to unpause when it's right. I think we just unpause, right?
I think we just unpause in this case. That's an odd scenario, the hotkeys being reset. I suppose it's possible that if you set them like in the game, and then like say he's just the type who does hotkeys on the fly. Maybe he did it like right before the game, and then when the client was restarted, it just like wasn't saved somehow. I guess that could happen, but usually your hotkeys are saved to your profile, so that seems a bit weird. Not sure how that would happen, to be honest, but hey, he's got issues with his hotkeys, and maybe that's why we saw that weird like Warp Prism movement or something. I frankly don't know.
Yeah, maybe. I wonder what he's trying to build now, where he realized the hotkeys weren't working properly. It's like warp gate isn't W or something. It's like, what? How does this happen? And looks like the game has resumed, so we will keep going.
Well, here comes that Hydra move out. He's got a ton of Lings to support this.
He's not dropping these Archons. I wonder if that's a hotkey problem.
Yeah, I think maybe the drop hotkey. Maybe he's accidentally with the grid. Oh! Never, ever, ever want to walk into a line of sight blocker behind or with a watchtower if you don't know what's there. It's like rule number 1 of watchtowers. You just do not do that.
Well, especially with sentries, right? Because then they're gonna pop instantly if they're in range of something like Hydras. And things are looking a little bit scary. I don't know if Rogue can actually kill him. There's a lot of force fields on the top of that ramp, and now a lot of Stalkers being warped in.
Archon drop gonna finally happen, I think, here.
There we go.
And he's got a lot of Lings coming back, but they're behind the minerals. Oh no, you don't want those Lings to fight like that.
Yummy.
Very nice move here by Hurricane. I like this a lot.
That's a lot of damage, and now Zealot's being warped in as well. He's gonna have to turn everything around.
He's going to kill the spawning pool here.
Oh, wow.
And by the way, he scouts the Hive and instantly starts a Templar Archive back at home. Oh, look at that. He even got those away with, like, no shields on the Archon. Whoa, that's risky business right there.
It's like a naked Archon, man. That's what happens when those shields go away.
Yeah.
They're only made of Psi, so when you lose those Psi shields, you're just naked.
How does he even float without shields?
Oh, man. He like, walks around like a normal human after that. Like, it's weird. Or maybe he just becomes gas or something.
A little scrawny High Templar down there.
There's like a little guy in the middle of it.
It's like the guy in the turret, the man in the missile turret.
Is there actually a man in the missile turret?
Yeah, man. There's a man in the missile turret, dude.
It should cost supply then.
Yeah, see, that's the big debate.
That's actually imbalanced.
That's imbalanced. It's like just like Assimilators are imbalanced, man. Too many hit points.
Well, that's debatable.
I actually saw in like a Reddit thread, like one of the top comments was like, I can't believe they still didn't fix the assimilator in Legacy. This is a big commitment, by the way.
That's a lot of zealots. That's a lot of money. They're on equal economy right now.
If he targets the roaches, he can actually kill one of these Archons too. He's got to be careful with that.
Yeah, actually not enough really committed by Rogue, so he's going to lose a couple more things. These Archons doing work. One of them on 23 shield. He is truly naked.
This is a wonky game, man.
Wonkadoodle-doo indeed, my friends.
There are a ton of Harvesters went down. It's like, basically Hurricane is just like, okay, come at me, bro. All I have to do is hold your push because I've killed so many Harvesters.
Well, it is maxed out. He's actually up, what, 60 supply still?
80 supply in army.
Yeah.
But this is a tough position to engage.
Blinding Cloud, and he's got a pretty nice position, you know?
Needs perfect storms here to hold us off.
He's not committing to any Blinding Cloud. There we go. There it is. A lot of damage going down. If he, like, slid behind that Nexus, he could get a lot of probes, get rid of that cannon, maybe make something happen. But the way he is now, there's too many roaches at the front, and they will get kind of destroyed by Force Fields and Storms.
Storms are great here. The Force Fields continue to make them stay in there. This army is so puny for Hurricane that he's like struggling to actually get the surface area to actually do real damage to this, but he holds, and
he holds
again,
pretty convincingly, actually.
The worker count is insanely in Hurricane's favor at this point.
I kind of really, yeah, he hasn't actually saturated the natural very well at all, and he's still making roaches behind it. There's literally 8 drones on the natural mineral patch.
I guess that's one way to get rid of this.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, there's a 4th base that's totally empty, too. I don't think there's a single drone mine.
It really feels like Rogue is completely all in by this, and I don't know if I agree with his choice to do so. Like, I feel like transitioning into Swarm hosts now would be a pretty good idea.
I mean, it's something you can do low economy to catch back up, but I think he's almost too far gone at this point.
I think he might be as well.
I don't think there's much way out of this anymore.
Oh, he's going to get stormed on so hard.
Oh, God.
He can't fight that. Where is his Vipers while this is all happening as well? And why is he making roaches against Immortals? I want to see more Hydras, man.
Yeah, I think he's just concerned about the storms, although there's not that many High Templar left.
We'll just bait out those storms.
Yeah, kind of like this.
Blinding Cloud. There we go. A couple of good Blinding Clouds. Not really committing to it, though. Still trying to dodge those storms.
Yeah, a lot of timid engagements here for Rogue. He will push this back for a second.
This is much better. This is much better. For a second, at least.
Until the Blinding Clouds wear away, and you realize the Protoss army is, like, massive at this point.
And he's got nothing but roaches and
Does he even have upgrades? Does he have? He has +1, right?
He's got +1
yeah.
against +3. It's not a bad fight for Rogue. Can his roaches sort of last? Doesn't look like it. Simply too much.
This is just a perfect Protoss comp. Oh, goodbye, Viper.
Yeah, this could actually just be it.
I think so.
Kind of a weird game to start things off tonight for Rogue.
Archon drops, man.
Archon drops.
That's it.
That happened, and like complete all in from Roach Hydra +1 with Vipers. I don't know if I like that, Wolf.
Oh, well, what a wonky game.
I feel like this is the perfect sort of position you do go Swarm hosts in. And you wind down the Protoss, especially if you see a composition like that. No Colossus.